cards, playing cards, whatever you want to call them. So I've been realizing if I would have done this because I would have done not even do. But in today's video, we're going to be doing on my Pokemon cards. So for right now, I want you to like, comment, subscribe if you love Pokemon. So here we go. Alright, so the card that I have here is Granbull, who is a dog Pokemon who has the ability to use Chomp and Bully Dash. You know what's my favorite? I think he has saber-tooth teeth, but they're pink now because Game Freak doesn't want to think about it. Next up, I got is a Shaman, who is a flying type Pokemon, but he has the ability to flap and Revenge Blast. So I'll just put here. Next up is everyone's favorite Pokemon, Mimikyu. Mimikyu is just kind of a ghost, kind of a creepy Pokemon, and that's because it kind of looks like Pikachu. Yeah, because I think his ability is to use Dummy Doll, Jealous Eyes. So I'm just gonna put here. Next up is one of my favorite Pokemon, Arceus. Arceus, if you don't know, he is a legendary Pokemon that he controls time and space. And his ability is the Tiny Charge Power Rage. The next up I got is another Arceus. His also ability was this tiny Norma and Starbreath. So I'm just going to put him over here. Next up is Sylveon, who is a EV type Pokemon. He uses Fairy type. Speaking of that, his ability is to Purchase Touch, Max Homie. Next up is Flygon, who is a flying type Pokemon, and his ability is to use Sand Spray, Dangerous Inspirin. The next up is actually a Ginormic, Kingzr VMAX. His ability was Bubble Glower and G-Max Predator. Next up is a Danen. Danen, who is a Pokemon that he was from Gen 5. And his ability is the Den Flash. Next up is a Duskmore. He's a ghost type Pokemon, and his ability is the Central Breath and Spooky Shot. Next up is Mimikyu Fullmax. His also ability was Obvious Numbers Max Shows. Next up, the next one is not a Pokemon, but it's actually just a trainer, and her name is Gloria. This is the Pokemon trainer from the game. Next up is a Morpeko, and his ability was go on a run and hang spike. The next up is Liminion, where his ability is the Aluminum Sign and Air Turn. Next up is Honchkrow. He's just a bird Pokemon, but his ability was Boss Pockets, Fearum Shadows. The next up is another Sylveon V, but it's actually just Sylveon VMAX, and her ability was Purchase Touch, Max Fury. Next up is another Mimikyu VMAX. His other ability was Obvious Numbers Max Show. Why do they make the same cards? It doesn't even make sense. But, like some Mimikyu fans. The next one is Charizard V, where his ability was Interest and Heat Blast. I got Charmander in Pokemon Shield after I finally beat the Pokemon Shield. And over there you can see Venusaur. Next up is one of my newest favorite Pokemon, Zekrom, who appears in Gen 5 of Pokemon. His ability was Slash and Wild Shock. I think it's my favorite Pokemon. Next up is another Mimikyu, but it's actually Mimikyu V. And his ability was the same one that I mentioned. Anyway, the next one is Kindler, who is not a Pokemon, but he's just a trainer. Next up is Aircraw's Permission. I don't know. I can't even read it. Next up is Calf Master, who serves coffee. I don't know. Next up is another Charizard, but it's actually Charizard V, and the same one that I already said. Yeah, I think Charizard's my favorite. Next up is another Mimikyu, another Arceus. It's actually Arceus V, and also his ability was Change Charge and Power Rage. Next up is Jolteon, who is another Eevee type Pokemon, but we could see Eevee, and that's just Red's rival Blue. His ability was Electro Ball. Next up is another Shaman. It has V-Star, and his ability was Revenge Blast and Star Bloom. Next up is Kingler V, and Kingler's ability was Flaming Builder, Flaming Bubbles, and Rage Pincer. Next up is Sandler V, and his ability was the Bursting Power and Flare Judge. The next one I got is the Basic Energy, where I don't know what it does. So we'll get into my old Pokemon cards from 2021. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's 2025. The next one I got is the old Pokemon cards that I have. Next up we got is a Pikachu that I have. I got it from a cereal box, and his ability was Tail Whip and Pickup Law. Next up is Bearwer that I caught in Pokemon Shield, and his ability was Split, Splatter Punch, and Straight. Next up I got is Yamper. His ability was Roar and Shamrock. Every time he doesn't do attacks, he always evolves. The next one I got is the Chimstru, and his ability was just Electro Ball. Next up is French D, whose ability Rock Smash and Piece. Next up is Rowlet. His ability was Sky Curse and Wind Shard. I think that Pokemon is from Gen 7. Next up is Ghost-Fur, the same one that I had got on the game, and his ability is to sing. The next one is Flappy, who is a kind of looks like a sheep Pokemon. And if you look over there, this is just a Matry, and his ability was Electro Ball. Next up I got is another Pikachu, but his ability was Wild Charge. And he wears a hat, and there's a game called Pokemon Go. The next one is French D, and its lead ability Lap Speed. Next up I got is Dreepy. He has ability to quick attack. And next up I got another Pikachu. Oh yeah, the last one. This is not actually a Pokemon card, but it's actually a Jane Animations card that I got. Next up is Ari, and Ari is not a Pokemon. He's just a Jane Animations bird. And this ability, they use Punishment, Broad Swing, and Outrage. See that? Jaden Animations. Yeah, REX. And that was my entire Pokemon cards. Hopefully you guys can enjoy it. So I'll see you next time. Bye.